Should I start, Kenya?
One moment. So, welcome. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Grow Your Business webinar series. Tonight's webinar, we have Giovanna Bracci. She's the Executive Director of LaFirst CDC, and she's here to discuss the loan eligibility and services offered at LaFirst CDC. Before we get started with her introduction and the presentation, I just want to do a little housekeeping. So you guys have permission to talk. So if you have any questions, feel free to unmute and surely chime in and let Giovanna know what the question is so they can get answered on the air. Also, we have chat and the Q&A for more questions. So if you are unable to unmute, feel free to put it in the chat. We have Jay, our technical staff guy here, monitoring Facebook Live for us. Okay, so without further ado, Giovanna, you can start your introductions.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kenya. And thank you to Suffolk Community College Entrepreneurial Assistance Program for having me speak tonight and present to all of you about access to capital. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen because I have a little presentation for you. Just close out the other things. So again, my name is Giovanna Bracci. I am the Executive Director at La Fuerza. For those of you who don't know, fuerza in Spanish means strength. So we like to say that we're your strength for success in navigating how to succeed at your business. La Fuerza was started in 2001 as a nonprofit. And then in 2004, we received this certification from the CDFI fund that's at the Treasury Department to provide micro lending to small businesses. So with that certification, we're allowed to do microloan programs. Our mission is to promote sustainable economic growth in Long Island by providing you with access to capital, business development services, and other tools like resources in order to succeed and prosper as a business. Our three main programs, so we are a three-prong program type of organization. The first one is technical assistance, which is business development. We could do private counseling or group sessions. It's just training to give you guidance, and we do group sessions about all different topics that small business owners may need. The second one is the micro loan program, which I will be speaking about tonight. And that's to really assist those small businesses that can't yet qualify for traditional lending, either at a bank or at a credit union. This is a nonprofit loan program that can help at the beginning stages or, when you're experiencing growth as well. The third program is our credit counseling, which we call it a financial empowerment program. What this is private credit counseling for small business owners and their employees. It's available in English and Spanish. And this program is great. We started it right in the middle of the pandemic. And it's for building your credit. It's for establishing credit. Some small business owners had really no credit. It is for, managing debt. A lot of small businesses took on some debt during the pandemic. And it helps you manage your finances, maybe establish some budgets. Again, it's complimentary. It is private. So we just send you a link, you sign up, and we feel that in combination with the two other programs, it's a complete assistance that we provide. Today, we're talking about micro loans. We're actually talking about access to capital, financing your business. I am going to break down what lenders really look for when we're looking at a loan package. I'm going to now introduce you to our loan products. And then I'll take as many questions as you have at the end. Okay. The first thing we say is for small business owners to really know the loan products. There could be different products out there. Just as there are different financial institutions, there are different products. Our product is called a micro loan. And what that means, it's under $50,000. So anything up to $50,000, it's called a micro loan. Anything above that, it's just a small business loan. Our product is up to $50,000. We also say, really take a look at the terms, right? So break down the terms. What are terms? Terms is the interest rate. Terms is the years that your amortization is. So for instance, our interest rate is between 4 to 10%, depending on the risk. That's decided by a loan committee. We don't do, those automatic underwriting where they let you know in 2 hours if you qualify. That's based on your credit score. We don't do that type of lending. We really gather a loan package. I'm going to go over the items that we collect, and then it goes to a loan committee and they look at the financial health of the business, and then they decide on the interest rate based on the risk. So the terms are 4 to 10% fixed principal and interest payments, right? So it's not variable. It is a fixed amount for the life of the loan. The years could be up to 7 years. So you can have a loan for 3 years, you can have a loan for 5 years or 7 years. Some people like to start with a 5-year loan or a 7-year loan. And as the business gets stronger and grows, then they can just make prepayments on the loan. There are no penalties. So let's say you take a loan and we do it for 7 years and your payment is $300 a month. That's for principal and interest. And maybe on year 2 of this loan, the business is growing. You're doing much better than the first year when you needed the capital. And you can pay maybe another $100 or $150 extra each month. That's going to shorten the term, right? The time of the loan. So clients like to start at 7 years because the payment is smaller on a monthly basis. Obviously the shorter the term, the higher the monthly payment is going to be. So they don't like to take on too much at the beginning because again, they're just starting out. So we stretch it out to 7 years or 5 years, and then you can shorten that time by making extra payments. There is a 1% closing fee, which means our fee could be $500 if you borrow $50,000. Qualifications. Sometimes we say, okay, look for the product, find out the terms. Now let's find out what are the pre-qualifications for this loan. Because we are a community lender, we want to make sure as a CDFI, we need to have 60% of our loan portfolio needs to be for minority or women-owned small businesses. So that's one of our pre-qualification. It needs to be a small business on Long Island. It needs to be, right, an MWBE, a DBE, or a WBE, which means a women business entity. The other requirement that we had after the pandemic is that you are required, if you are approved for a loan, you need to take one of the credit counseling sessions. It's great to use it. We've all taken advantage of it. When we started to offer it, we wanted to try it. So my whole team, my whole staff actually took it, and it actually helped them. So we do require that you take at least one of the sessions. The second program that we have is from New York State, Empire State. Now, this loan, here are the terms. It's up to $25,000, so that's the max that you can take out. The interest rates are from 3 to 8%, so it starts a little lower and it hits a little lower because that's driven by New York State. And you can stretch it out to 7 years. The qualifications is that you must be an MWBE small business on Long Island with less than 20 employees. And you, obviously it says they're open and operating on Long Island. So that also goes, you know, when we say a minority owned business, it needs to be either 100 or it could at least be 51% minority owned. Now, what if you need to take out a larger loan than that? So for larger amounts, we actually work with an SBA lender. SBA products are great for larger amounts. Let's say you need 100, 150, 200. We want to make sure that we work with you to qualify for an SBA loan. There are a lot of questions. It's the SBA. The application, like I said, there's a lot more question and it's SBA underwriting. So they will ask for a lot of documents. So for small businesses that are ready to take on a loan, this is what we say. Number one, get to know the products, right? You're going to look for the products. What are the products that this lender is offering? What are the terms? What are the lender fees? And what are the requirements? After that is, what is a loan package, right? So you want to borrow $20,000 from La Fuerza. We'll send you a link where you can start the application process and a list of required documents. So whether it's a nonprofit lender or a bank or a credit union, for business lending, you will have an application and some required documents. So the application, it's basically financial questions about the business and financial questions about the owner or owners. Okay, so be prepared to answer those for both. And there's simple questions like, where is it located? When did you start it? You know, what are the expenses? What are the liabilities? Do you have any loans? Obviously, if it's the SBA, there will be a lot more questions. And just like us, because we're a nonprofit, we ask a lot of demographic questions, right? So are you minority owned? Are you women owned? What area in Long Island? You know, were you affected by COVID? Did you receive the EIDL loan or the PPP? You know, there are a lot of questions when it's an SBA lender, or even for us, we like to ask a lot of questions. But usually for the application, it's the financial status of the business and the owners. The required documents, which we call the loan package, right? This is our list. It starts with the business plan. So if you haven't done one, you know, reach out to Kenya. There's, you know, centers that can help you, but you should really work on your business plan. Think about your business model and do your business plan. The next one is taxes. We ask for 3 years of personal tax returns from the owners and business. Now you say, well, I just started my business 5 months ago. That's okay. However many tax returns you have for your business, that's fine. If you don't have any, then I'm going to ask, I need a profit and loss or a cash flow statement for the last 5 months. I need to know what are your revenues, right? What is your cash flow for the past 5 months since you've been open? What we want to do there is look at the history. How is the business performing as far as finances? Next is a projection or a profit and loss. So you come to me and you say, I have a home-based business and now would like to, my business is growing so fast, I would love to have a storefront. Okay, so if you're borrowing $50,000, I would like to see a projection for the next 3 years. So your business is changing. You're now no longer a home-based business, you're going to be a storefront. So let me see in a projection what your business will look like for the next 3 years, right? We want to make sure that there is enough cash flow to actually carry the loan payments. We want to make sure that we look at what your revenue is expected to be and what your expenses are. The profit and loss, it's again, if you just opened 9 months ago, or if you're on your first year and you haven't done a tax return, I would like to see a profit and loss for the last 9 years. Even if you have a tax return for, the prior year, maybe 2020 and 2021, and you haven't done 2022, I would like to see a profit and loss for that year. So that can come from whatever accounting system you use. You can do a QuickBooks, provides you with that, or your accountant, or if you do it manually, I would like to see, actually we need to see what this year was like for the business. So that's a profit and loss. Bank statements. We want to see 3 months of bank statements for the owner or owners and for the business. This will show us the cash flow going in and out of your business. 2 forms of identification, pretty simple. Proof of ownership could be a certificate of incorporation, the one that New York State sends you, or articles of organization, or if you're registered with the county, it could be your business certificate, but we want proof of ownership that this is your business. Your EIN letter from the IRS that shows us your EIN number. If you are renting space, we would like to see your lease, a copy of your lease, just to make sure that everything is good there. Liability insurance, if you do have a storefront, you should really have liability insurance. We want to make sure of that. And some people question that. They're like, well, why do you need to see my lease? Well, what a lender is doing when they ask for all of these, it's not just doing due diligence to make sure that everything is kosher, but really what we're also doing is trying to lower the risk. And whenever I talk about insurance, that's exactly what we're doing, is we're lowering the risk. If you are borrowing for the next 5 years, you're holding on to that loan and you're paying it back, we want to make sure that your business is pretty secure for the next 5 years, right? So if someone comes in and trips or sues sues the company, we want to make sure that the company will be able to do that through the insurance company and have the protection and continue to thrive and do well. So it's really for the financial health of the business for the time that you have that loan. More items are proof of address for the owner and the business. That's through a utility bill. And then any licenses that are required in your industry or permits for the commercial space. That goes for, like, if you're in the food industry, if you're in the early childhood industry, for daycare. So any license that's required, dry cleaners, beauty salons. Yeah, so just a copy of your license. Again, we're lowering the risk, making sure that you won't be shut down, right, for not having your licenses. So if the business can't open or function, how is the loan getting paid? So again, we're trying to lower that risk and looking for those items. And then just a list of use of funds, like what is the funding for? What's the purpose of it? What will you be using the loan for. Now, I just went through, you know, the loan products, the terms, the lender fees, the requirements, qualifications, your application, your loan package, and every lender is different. You know, sometimes the larger lenders like the banks or the credit unions, they may just ask you for maybe like 3 or 4 items, you know, really the tax returns, bank statements, proof of ownership. And what they do is like they pre-qualify you. Once they see that you have at least that and that you pass that qualifications, then they take a deeper dive into all the other documents. So really, you know, that's the loan process. Also, every lender is different. Everything we do is, we call it a manual underwriting. It's we really just do a credit memo, and then we do due diligence. Everything is being done by my team members. And then it's decided by a loan committee. So once we get all of your documents and we have a complete package, we will let you know that it's now complete. It goes to the underwriter who does a review, does a credit memo, and then we send that to the loan committee. Now, these are volunteers that meet and look through your package. They read your business plan. They look at our credit memo, and then they decide on the loan. So that is that. Now, how do you prepare? Because whenever I do an access to capital, you know, going through everything that I just spoke to you about, the product, the application, the required list, that's if you're ready, right? But how do you prepare for a loan? Because the best thing is to be ready to borrow when you need it. Okay, so be prepared. These are some of the questions, lending questions that we thought you should really ask yourself. So how much money do you need? Be very clear about that. And don't borrow more than you need. Sometimes people are like, I need an extra 20,000 just to make sure. Well, it's a loan and you're paying interest on that loan. So you want to be really clear as to how much do you need? And then what do you need it for, right? Is it for equipment? Is it for real estate? Right? Because there are different products, right? If you're buying the building where your business is at, an SBA product is better for that. If you're just buying a piece of equipment or a machine or inventory, you know, a microloan may be better for that. So what is it for? When do you need it? Right? So we don't want you to come and borrow when you're desperate, right? When you need it like yesterday. So be prepared. Where is your business located and how long have you been in business? Do you have cash flow, right? Do you know what cash flow is? Do you profits? Do you break even? And if you break even, where's the payment coming from, right? How are you going to be able to make that $250 additional payment every month? So we'll work with you on that. We want to make sure that you're able to carry the loan. Do you have employees? Those are questions too that lenders ask. Do you have collateral to secure the loan? Lenders will ask you for that. We have a program that we use for collateral as well. Do you have any other debt? So it's important to really work on your debt. You know, debt is not a scary word, you know, as long as it's manageable and you're managing it right. As long as it's affordable debt, you're good. And how is your credit score? Right? Work on your credit score. So if you're just starting a business, or even if your business is just in the idea stages right now, work on your personal credit, because when you go and borrow, they will look at your credit score. They look at the owner's credit score. Also, lenders will ask for a guarantee. There are many lenders that ask for a personal guarantee, which means my business is taking out the loan, but I am giving a personal guarantee. If the loan is paid off, it goes away. There's nothing really damaging to your personal score. But if the business fails, God forbid, and you can't pay back the loan, you are personally responsible to keep those payments. Okay, so how else can you be ready? So, after COVID, everything is digital. Everything is through emails. We have a portal that you can send, your information it will be very secure. So you want to take note of that too. So do you have an accountant? Are your taxes filed? Again, as a business owner, you want to make sure that these things are done. Because you never know when the opportunity is going to come your way and you want to be ready. So you want to have all your corporate documents organized, at least, so that you can scan them and send them. If you do have an accountant, and you need a profit and loss or a projection, we can help you with that, or a lot of people get them from their accountant. Do you have a business plan or a business model? We always tell people, start with your business model and then write your business plan once you have your business. Do you have projections, right? Do you know how to do projections? Seek out help when you have to do those. I'm sorry if you can hear my dog.
Hi, Giovanna. I have a
Yeah.
question in the chat.
Sure.
The question is it okay if you've had an EIN number because you were an independent contractor in the past?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
Okay.
So it's okay to have an EIN number, right? And that's it if you're an independent contractor, right? Which means you file a Schedule C right? Is that the question?
So yeah, that was all that was stated. It was just asked if it was okay if you've had one. And I'm thinking it's yes. They said yes.
Yes, right. So yeah, so those are two. Once you get your EIN number, you want to put that number on there for your taxes. Okay, and so when we're saying be paper ready, are your documents on your computer? It's just everything is digital now, and it's just again, it's another way to be ready. Get clarity. Again, what do you need the loan for? And remember, it is a loan. You're borrowing capital. So whatever the project is, whether it's a machine or inventory, just know exactly how much you're borrowing, and just have clarity about that. Does your business plan or projections clearly show the need and benefit, right? You don't want to get into debt if you really can't afford it. So make sure that you have clarity about that, because you will have an additional monthly payment that you have to carry. Can you repay the loan? Can you carry the monthly payment? That's what a lender is going to look for. Plan ahead. Are you ready for a crisis? That's something that we now need to take into consideration, especially with this market and the way everything is nowadays. It's, we went from a pandemic, and, the small businesses that we worked with seemed to make it out okay. They took out assistance and they made it okay. And then we went into inflation, which is crazy because, it seems like everybody was struggling because of inflation. So be ready. What is your plan, right? We want to make sure that, you have a plan that you're able to pivot. We did a lot of training on marketing. That's a way to really get ready. We figured, marketing is a great way to also deal with inflation, because marketing is free. Social media is free, right? So you can promote your business for free on social media. It's work. You have to, be diligent and then really put the work into it. But, you know, you can really promote your business that way where it's not costing you a lot. Look at your overhead expenses, look at the big expenses, look at, you know, things that you can cut back on. Those things help with inflation too. So you have to be ready for a crisis. You have to really be on your feet and be ready to pivot. Can you give how is your credit? Again, I said this before, work on your credit because, and not even just for a business loan, work on your credit for personal reasons. You need to lease a car, you need to rent an apartment, you're going to get the best rate, or you need to lease equipment, right? You're going to get the best rate when your credit is good. Can you give a personal guarantee? A personal guarantee, again, it simply means that you are personally guaranteeing the business loan. And then what to expect. So you want to ask the lenders too, how long does it take? What is the process, right? I will speak for our process. You submit the application on our portal. You will get confirmation that we have a complete loan package. Sometimes the underwriter may have 1 or 2 questions, additional questions. They will reach out to you. Once it goes to committee, you know, it takes a couple of weeks for it to go through the review and the underwriter. Then it takes another week for it to go to the loan committee because these are volunteers that will meet after hours and look through your loan package and decide whether they want to approve it or not. Once they approve the loan package, the next day our office gets notified. We will then prepare the closing documents, right? So these are legal documents. This is a note for your loan, a guarantee, right? Guarantee of all liabilities. So these are closing documents that we will email to you, and you will need to have them notarized and sent back to us. We also email you an ACH form, which is a form where you put your bank information and you authorize the monthly payment. And you will authorize the monthly payment for your loan. We also give you a loan schedule, which shows you exactly how much you're borrowing, all the dates, you know, even if it's like 60 months, you'll see a list of 60 payments. And you will see how it's being split between the principal and the interest, but it's the same payment each month. So we want full transparency of how your loan is split and how the payments are being applied. Obviously, please take note that changes if you pay extra, right? It's going to change a little bit, but it's still going to be the same amount every month. So that's what we email you. Once you send us back the ACH form and the loan closing, it's basically a wire transfer, okay? And then the payments will start on the following month. So that's our loan process. So usually it takes, you know, I would say 4 weeks, you know. There are banks that obviously they do everything, you know, they don't have manual underwriting. Everything is based on just number. It's automatic. So your credit score is this much. This is how much you're approved for. You know, obviously the larger loans, it does take a little bit longer. For the SBA, it does take, you know, long as well because they go through a lot of due diligence. But those, remember, those are the larger loans. There are also online platforms and online lenders, but you just want to be very careful. There needs to be full transparency. You want to definitely look at the terms very carefully, look for the fine print. Do not sign anything that you are not sure about, okay? Because once you sign a legal document, that's it. That's what you're liable for. So, I hope that this helped you. I'm just going to give you my information very quickly. Follow us on social media. We're always here to help. If you have a question on, you know, any particular loan product, you know, you could just reach out to us and we'll try to help. I'm going to stop sharing now, so that we can go over questions and, all the good stuff. So if anyone has any questions, now is the time to ask.
Feel free to unmute or put the question in the chat or in Q&A.
I have no questions because you explained it so well, and I
Oh,
totally understand that I don't qualify right now.
no.
Sorry, I wish, but I don't.
Okay, so, without disclosing any information, we lend to businesses that are in the beginning stages. You don't need to be open. It's not, we're not a bank. So when you're ready, we can discuss it.
Okay. I would consider it, but I don't think so.
I'm going to, for anyone that wants to be in contact with me, I'll put my email and number in the chat.
I also see, Kenya, a question from Sandra that says, how does it work for someone that wants to open a business?
Yes.
Okay, so if you are in the beginning stages, which means like the idea stage, right? You can go to someone like Kenya at the EAP Center, and they will, go through those courses that teaches you how to go from A to Z, right? On how to open your business. For us, we always like to say, if you're in the idea stage, think about your business model, right? Think about the type of business, who's your client, what is your service or your product? How are you going to reach your client, right? Or how does your client like to be sold items, right? Or is it online? Is it at a storefront? And what problem or what are you offering your client, like, right? What problems are you solving for them, like meaning your product or your service? And then work from there. Once you've established, your connection to your clients, your market, the area, how are you going to sell it, the price point, who are your partners, what do you need, right? In order to provide that service or that product. What is the cost? There's startup costs, and then there's, operational costs, expenses. And then figure out how much capital. Once you have gone through all of that, then you can clearly say, okay, I will need this much capital to start my business. And then also, what I like to tell people is that when you're at the beginning stages, try to find a way to run your business as minimal as possible when it comes to cost, right? You don't want to use up all your money at the beginning if you can. So in order to do that, we say, go through the business model, work on a business plan, take advantage of the resources that are out there, attend one of our workshops on marketing, see if you can market yourself, grow your following, and then make that all those followers into your clients. So there's a lot that you can do at the beginning. And then once you have it all figured out and you can really do a nice projection, then you can start thinking about a loan if you need the capital. And then also be realistic. If you're at the beginning stages, in your money, in your business, can only carry a $10,000 loan, borrow 10,000, don't go for the 50.
Do you go less than 10?
Yes, we can go less than 10.
And another thing that where you got me is when you start talking about my credit score, okay? That's where you get me, because I am struggling. I'm feeling like I need to go back to work. So my 2 prior tax returns, which this will be my 3rd year filing with my business, I filed personal and business together,
Mhm,
right? Those are my tax returns.
mhm.
And this is the first year that I didn't do, this is my first year all self-employed. And I'm struggling, and I'm having a hard time paying all of those bills that I had when I was employed. So when you say that, I'm like, I'm out. I'm out. My credit score is low right now because I'm struggling to pay those bills with my own business.
Okay, so when I say work on your credit score, it's just because, you know, you want the advice of a professional, and it's not us that does it. It's a company that we hired, and it's through the phone, and it's confidential. You want to take their advice as to how to manage your debt, right? So when I talk about the credit score for the loan, you know, we have clients that, you know, we like to see 600 and above. You know, for us, if it's below 600, then we just simply want to know why, like what happened that made it go below that. But we don't do credit financing. Like, it's not based on just your credit score. It's based on the owner's experience. Where's the business located? Where are your clients? How are you growing your business? And we look at 1 year after the other. Has there been growth? So it's not just strictly based on your credit score. And then while we're doing that, we also look at, like what you just said. Okay, so how do you grow your business? How do you get more clients? Right? So last night we had a webinar on projections, like how to look at and create projections that are realistic. Tonight we did a money management. We're doing marketing later on. So it's like, how do you grow your business? How do you promote on Facebook? How do you promote on Instagram? How do you make a nice flyer to distribute in your community, so that you can get more clients? Who are your clients, right? Not to get too philosophical, but like, who are your clients? Who are the people that reached out to you? Where do you find more of those type of people? Because that's your client. So, you know, we help you with that. Networking, you know, here are some networking events that you can attend. You know, what's your pitch? How do you sell your business, if you're in a room with people and you're networking? Yeah. So,
Okay.
but remember, to answer your question, it's not just based on your credit score. It's not.
Giovanna, there's questions in the chat. Do you see them?
Yeah, so I have a real estate business. Can the loan be used to purchase residential real estate outside of New York State? No. So we only service Long Island, so it needs to be for Long Island. And for the real estate business, it needs to be clear that you're not an employee of a real estate company, but rather, yeah, your own business. And then Giovanna, do you have a business plan template that is effective for the loan process? Yeah, so what we use is really an outline. So we give you an outline of what you should include in your business plan, which is really, it starts with the owner and your experience, right? So you want to talk about your experience, why you started this business, what is your service, who is your client, what's your market, how do you promote yourself, you know, things like that. Who's running the operations. Yeah. And a lot of small business owners, to tell you the truth, some start their business at the very beginning while they're still working. Yeah, so that's very common
You
too.
have to go back.
No, it sounds like you're growing and you already made the jump, so you're in the right direction. But usually that's how most people start. They just start on the side. Yeah.
Tina, you have your hand raised.
Yeah.
Yes, I wanted to know the class that you did last night. That sounds like it was a very interesting class. What was the name of that?
It was it was on projections. Forgot the exact name. But it was on how to create projections for your business.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Sandra also has her hand up.
No.
How can we access to all the classes that you just mentioned a little while ago?
Sure. So our classes are not structured like the Entrepreneurial Assistance Center. We just do Zoom webinars on topics that we feel are very helpful. So I showed it at the end and I showed it very quickly. But if you email info@lafuerzacdc.org, I can also put it in the chat and say, add me to your email list. You'll receive those flyers. Also on our Facebook page at La Fuerza CDC. I'll put that in the chat too. We post them on there all the time. And actually our social media is better. La Fuerza's Facebook page is better to follow because we also put news on resources and things that are coming down maybe from New York State or like, you know, well, right after the pandemic, there was like a lot of grants for small businesses. So we put information on there. Yeah, so we put a lot of helpful information as well as all of the webinars that we have. So I'll put that information on the chat.
Thank you.
Giovanna, I have a quick question. Sorry. So say you operate from home, right?
Yeah.
You're renting.
Yeah.
Do you provide your lease,
No.
the rental lease, or?
No, not on a home base. It's just for commercial space. Yeah.
Okay. So what type of information would you need to show that it's operating there at the house? Just the certificate of incorporation? Or?
Right, which will have you listed on there. And it also like usually depends on the type of business. Yeah. Like we have a lot of consultants. We also have small businesses that started there. Like I have a company that does oils and candles, and now she's looking for, you know, to move out of her home because the business is growing. And you also have to be smart and economical, right? If you can do it out of your home, that's great. And yes, it's great to grow, but try to do it as long as possible because commercial space is expensive, right? So you want to make sure that you can carry that monthly lease payment every month. Yeah. Yep. Was there another question that maybe I missed? That was it.
Tina, you have another question, or Sandra?
Yes, actually, I do. If you're running your home, the business from your home, you will not be able to use like a PO box, correct? As an address.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because for the business, we need proof of address. So it's proof of address for the owner and proof of address for the business. So that's why I said we don't really need to look at a lease, but like a utility bill will tell us that the business is located at that address.
Okay.
For Kenya, there is any entrepreneur class coming up? Because I was looking for and they were gonna call me, they say probably in May. They haven't called me yet. I don't know if they haven't set up the classes yet or maybe it's gonna take longer.
Nope. So the courses look like they're gonna run over the summer. We're looking to have it start in June. My contact information is in the chat. Reach out to me tomorrow and I can add you to the list. Once that registration is complete, we'll send you the link to sign up. So these courses are for Reimagine and they're at no cost, right? So you'll get the full business training, business planning assistance at no charge.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Mhm.
Well, Giovanna has put her information in the chat as well. So if you have any other questions after this webinar, feel free to reach out. My contact information is in the chat, and you're more than welcome to reach out to me as well. This has been a informational session regarding the loan process, right, with La Fuerza. And it was great to know that, you know, it's not really based on credit, right? They don't really base their decisions on credit. But the good advice is to work on it and to make sure it's
Yeah.
nice and clean for you to get good interest rates and so forth. It's just better to have good credit, okay? Yeah.
Giovanna,
Yes.
the other two kind of loans that you talk about it before,
Mhm.
you explained the La Fuerza loan, and the other two with New Jersey State, and I don't remember the other one. We to access to those loans is through you, or it
Yeah.
has to go straight to New Jersey State.
No, it's through us. Yeah,
Oh,
through
okay.
us. Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll.
Great.
Yes, it was a great webinar, and we're going to wrap it up this evening. I thank you all for attending and learning about funding with La Fuerza CDC. I did put the link to next week's webinar, Understanding Your Financial Statements. Feel free to register for that webinar as well, and I'll see you all then. And until then, you guys have a great evening.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Good night.